told to take out all the swear words. So this is the G-rated version. If you want to see the other version, it's in the Emerge 2018. Every kid remembers their first bike. In 1979, I was 10 years old with no wheels, and I couldn't take another summer without a bike of my own. I said to Jacob we needed a bike too. I feel like a duck's dork running beside him. I pointed to the other member of our gang, Eric, who had a motocross. It looked like a dirt bike with big gnarly tires and grips that ran your hands raw. The village where I grew up had many families like mine. A single native parent, too poor to buy bicycles for her half-breed kids, as my mother often called us. The three of us joked with Jacob's oldest brother, Charles, who said, "You think Marge Jumpin' Mouth can afford 13 bikes for her kids when she's in the bar with his mum over there?" His lips pointed in my direction, and what could I say? It was the truth. "No way!" Charles' eyes flashed like big black saucers behind his thick pop bottle glasses. "They build what they can from the dump, and then they steal the rest from the white kids." He pointed his lips at Eric, the only white kid in the room, who shifted his eyes and his weight and looked for the closest exit to check on his bike. Now, to get to the dump, we had three choices: hitchhike, pay Greyhound $2.50 a head, or hop the train. Hitching was too dangerous, and we had no money for the bus, so that left the train. In the South BC Peace region, trains were long and slow, especially going through town. Most times, it would almost come to a complete stop. There was always a flat deck or a rail car empty enough for a kid. The trick was getting on, and the hardest part was walking home. Trains never seemed to come back the same way. That day it was easy pickings. The Alberta Wheat Pool Express was right on time. We boarded without being seen by the caboose or the engineer as it slowed around a bend and crossed Highway 2. It lumbered north along the highway, over the Dawson Creek trestle, and past oceans of summer wheat and flickering yellow canola. The train turned west along Highway 49, the old Spirit River Road as the locals called it. Soon the smell of rotten flesh caused my belly to reverse humps. I covered my face with my shirt, but it didn't help. The train almost slowed to a halt as it approached the dump, and I threw the tools off and quickly scrambled after them. Me and Jacob landed on the soft, forgiving gravel that the CPR laid down every spring freshet. Eric fell head over heels in a dusty cloud of arms and legs, tumbling down the gravel embankment. I looked back at the mess and laughed. We shook our heads. I said, "Good grief. I bet you $1 he won't live till graduation." Jacob counted on his fingers and held up 7 digits. "That's too long. Geez, Hunter. In 7 years, the commies could invade. No way. Besides, he's accident prone. It's just a matter of time." We laughed as Eric caught up. "What's so funny, guys?" Jacob snorted. "You!" Eric shrugged. "Oh, come on, give me a break. I'm left-handed and I have asthma." We had to bushwhack a fair bit because the CN rail wasn't like a taxi that dropped you at your front door. We navigated through chest-high wild grasses and gopher holes and hooked up with a gravel road that led to the dump. Jacob's brother said the scrap metal pile was where we'd find all the bike parts. We paused at the locked gate. Signs everywhere warned, "No trespassers." But there was no one around for miles, and somewhere out there loomed an enormous pile of bike parts. Eric shimmied under the wire fence, followed by me and Jacob. Everything was there: washers, dryers, refrigerators, twisted and bent bits of this and that, some painted, some bare and rusting. "We're almost there," I said. "What the heck is that?" Jacob pointed to a heap of metal. We raced towards the glorious pile. Jacob and I heard Eric say, "Wait for me!" He caught up and took a deep breath using his inhaler. I figured the pile was probably taller than the three of us all combined. "Holy cow!" a breathless Eric puffed. Jacob's eyes watered with joy. "It's so beautiful." I discovered a nice CCM frame with a chopper look to it. Eric was like a bull moose in full rut. He threw pieces every which way and piled them to one side, along with the truest wheel sets. We used the tools we borrowed from Charles, and soon we had 2 rolling bikes assembled. And just in case, I tied 2 sets of wheels to Jacob's sissy bar and stuffed a few extra parts in the bag. Eric asked Jacob, "Why a banana seat in the sissy bar? You know what a sissy is, right?" Jacob answered, "The seat gives me room for the chicks. And the sissy bar will stop them from falling back when I wheelie through the intersection. Any more questions, Professor?" I just wanted to be like Ghost Rider, pull evil souls to hell with my flaming Harley. Jacob and I, we rolled our patchwork bikes to the gate, now mysteriously open. We heard the watchman's cigarette-burnt voice. "Hey, what are you crazy kids doing here?" He panted like a thirsty buffalo on a hot day. "You know you can't be here. Can't you read the signs?" Eric flashed his big blue, heart-melting eyes and in the most Oliver Twist way said, "Please, sir, we're trying to find my stolen bike." The watchman breathed cut-rate whiskey. "Was it new, son?" Eric nodded yes, and the watchman shook his head. "You better go to the cop shop, boys." We took the back roads home, talking about our bikes and where we would go, and when we rolled into town, we agreed to meet at Jacob's after dinner. I arrived to an empty house and all the makings for a ketchup and bannock sandwich. I filled the hole in my belly and enjoyed the rare peace and quiet. Later, me and Eric met in the back alley behind Jacob's place, his Superman t-shirt stained with all the food groups. I knocked on the door and Jacob answered. The smell of homemade pizza escaped. In that dimly lit basement, Charles instructed us on how to tune a bicycle. By 7 p.m., me and Jacob, we had bikes. Mine was a blue CCM frame with candy apple red forks, 8 hanger handlebars, and an old leather seat with 2 big springs for support. Jacob's was green. It was a rally with purple forks, half-length, 8 hangers, and complete with banana seat and sissy bar. Eric laughed, but Jacob's brother Charles said, "Hey, you know ugly wheels are better than no wheels, right?" Jacob said, "Now we won't look like a couple of ducks dorks." Charles nodded, "Nope, just a couple of snot-nosed Indian kids with 2 crappy bikes. Now get lost, I gotta get ready for a date." We carried our bikes outside and rode until the sun went down. And when Jacob and Eric had to go home, I rode late into the night and imagined riding away into better times.